My brother called me at 2 a.m. in tears, asking if I'd raise his 2-year-old. Now I'm scared. Dads, how do I help him right now? This was originally posted to r/daddit, which I'm guessing is like a dad subreddit of some sorts. And it was originally posted May 19th, 2025. Last week, my older brother rang in the middle of the night. He was crying, like really crying, and asked me to promise I'd look after his little girl if anything ever happened to him. He's always been steady. He sailed through their first kid's newborn chaos. But since the second came along, in parentheses, she's 2 now, something's changed. He spends evenings alone in the driveway, just sitting in the car with the engine off. He moved into the spare room, so I don't keep my wife up. But it feels more like retreat than courtesy. During the day, he texts all good without any unusual sign. I'm scared this is more than normal dad stress. He won't bring it up with his wife, and I don't want to bulldoze him. But I also don't want to wait for another 2 a.m. call. For parents or anyone who's been the worried sibling, what actually helped you when the fear and isolation took over? How do I start the conversation about therapy or support without making him shut down? Any ideas welcome. I just want my brother present and okay for his kids. I don't know what the right answer is here, chat, and maybe you guys will have to let me know. Are interventions still a thing? This is actually a really great question to ask, is like, is there data support that interventions actually help, or are they not actually useful for like getting somebody to open up about a difficult issue? Because like in my experience, whenever you're in a situation like that where there's a bunch of people telling you that you need to fix something, it can sometimes feel like you're being more ganged up on than the people actually want to help you. Is that a thing, or am I making that up? Intervention helped me, but I was like a single trusted person, not a group. Okay, I actually kind of like that. And I feel like out of anybody, a brother is in the right position to be that single trusted person. And it sounds like they have a good relationship. Interventions can work. John Mulaney based his most recent set on the fact that his friends had an intervention for him. I don't think it's the right option here. Yeah, especially with how isolating he is to himself. I don't think that's the right answer, but I think maybe a one-on-one. Yeah, group intervention tends to backfire hard in my experience because it creates a sense of ganging up. I think a lot of you guys are cooking. In a big intervention doesn't make sense, but maybe like a one-on-one conversation that's just like, hey bro, I'm worried about you. Maybe the only other thing I'd recommend is figuring out if there's maybe a way where somebody else can come help with the kids for now and be able to take the brother like out of that situation, keep eyes on him, but then also like, I don't know, just like allow him to be away from the thing that's creating the problem. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think he should avoid it forever, but I think you almost need to take a step back to be able to take steps forward in a situation like this. So edit number 1 here. I read every single comment. Thank you. The message is loud and clear. That 2 a.m. call was an SOS, not dad stress. I'm flying out tonight. Waiting for the weekend felt dumb. Plan is simple. Over breakfast, I'm going to ask him straight up, are you thinking about K-wording yourself? If the answer is even close to yes, we'll call 988 or go to a doctor together. Then I'll drag him outside the house to do something he used to love, maybe golf, maybe steakhouse, or a bad action movie, just to let his brain breathe and create rooms for him to open up. At some point, I'll loop his wife in gently so she's not in the dark. Ticket is booked. He thinks I'm in town for work. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for pushing me off the couch. Update number 1, got to his place. He smiled when he opened the door. My tears almost slipped out, but I held it together. Low-key catch up tonight, and real talk tomorrow. We'll be back with updates. Update 2 is I flew out and I'm camped on my brother's couch. Big midnight porch confession, debt, depression, the whole lot. If you want the full rundown and some questions I need help with, it's here. Okay, let's click on this link here. Whoa. Okay, wait, this is just the update that we're about to read. So a couple of relevant comments here. Here's just a commenter highlighting that PPD is also a thing for dads, which I always forget that's a thing, but yes, 100%. Looks like there was a comment asking OOP if he knows if his brother drinks or not to cope with his depression. OOP replied, it never occurred to me he could be drinking on the side. I'm his sister, so for some reason I thought this was a guy. I'm his sister, so getting a guy's perspective on how men sometimes hide this stuff is really helpful. I'm flying out this weekend, so he's not alone with the spiral. Really appreciate the advice. Do you think he will be honest with me if I ask him about the drinking issue? Commenter 3 said, is the second kid his? I'd wonder if he found something out that made him separate from his wife intentionally since the birth. OOP, I did not think of that. He did ask me to take care of his little one, second kid. My assumption is that's unlikely, but there's definitely some issue with their relationship. This is a comment encouraging OOP to help look into getting therapy for her brother. OOP responded, he's pretty therapy shy, so I'm looking for softer on-ramps. Maybe a standing coffee walk with a dad buddy, or maybe there's an app with check-ins like Not Okay. Anything that feels like hanging out rather than sitting on a couch in the therapist's office. If you got other low-key ideas, I'm all ears. This is a comment saying OOP needs to follow her gut feelings from that 2 a.m. phone call, likely the call for help. OOP said, my inner voice was telling me that this is not the typical thing. Thank you for the validation. I'm booking the ticket now. First off, what a great fucking sister. This is some shit my sisters would do for me. I'm loving this. Not the situation, but the sister being an awesome sister. I'm kind of getting that vibe too, where he doesn't want like a full-on therapist, but he definitely needs someone to talk to about this. Is there anything else? I've actually never even heard of the app that they recommended. Are the kids why he's withdrawing though, or is something else going on here? I think that's the problem, Irisbear, is we need to figure that out before we can take next steps. It's just, who is he going to open up with to share what is going on here that is resulting in him feeling like that? We did get a little bit of information though. There's some debt. The brother definitely deals with depression, so I'm guessing the update will kind of clarify a lot. Update number 1, May 22nd, 2025, 3 days later. Last night we wound up on his back porch around midnight, baby monitor humming between us. It was quiet for a long stretch, then he started talking and the words poured out. Pretty soon we were both wiping our eyes. He's embarrassed I flew across the country to babysit him, but even more scared about what would happen to his kids if he ever hit the point of no return. His business is buried in debt and a few clients still haven't paid, so every bill feels like a gut punch. Home is tense too. He took clients to a strip club on a work trip, told his wife right away so there were no secrets, tried to be close later and she pulled back. He says that felt like the biggest humiliation of his life, and now he freezes whenever things might turn intimate. Back in February, he went to his PCP because he couldn't sleep. The doctor ran a quick screen, called it severe depression and put him on meds. He didn't tell anyone because talking to a stranger won't fix it, and he figured he could muscle through. Meanwhile, he feels responsible for his wife, the kids, our parents, even me. At one point, he said, I can't breathe. The only thing that yanks him out of dark thoughts is his toddler's face in the morning. I pulled out my phone and showed him this Reddit thread, thousands of strangers pacing over his 2 a.m. call. He shakes his head and laughs. I feel bad stressing you out. Now the whole internet's sweating over me. A bit of the weight slid off right there. Then I reminded him how many times I drafted him as my bodyguard while growing up, chasing off boys I didn't like and listening to me cry when the ones I liked didn't like me back. We cracked up at how he's been my unofficial relationship therapist forever while insisting he's bad at feelings. That laugh felt good, but one porch talk isn't a cure. So here's my ask. Therapy adverse dads or moms who finally went, what flipped the switch for you? Question 2, depression survivors. What was the very first step that gave you air? Question 3, 2 a.m. panic veterans. When you can't call anyone, what kept you from tipping over? Short answers, long stories, whatever helps. This sub already got me on a plane. Maybe you'll get him to real daylight. Okay, I actually don't know the answers to these questions because I feel like they're not really questions that I've had experience with, but at least with the wife, I think the answer here is some sort of couples therapy if possible, which is tough since money is tight. I mean, that just sucks, man, when clients aren't paying you. That's a shitty situation to be in general. Like, as a fellow business owner, the only thing that you can hope for is you have good contracts and good lawyers to maybe push for that. But I also just think it's very risky taking on business where they don't pay you initially up front, like not even half. That's always dangerous, to say the least. Relevant comments here. Commenter 1, not directly what you asked about, but if he has clients that aren't paying, assuming he's a contractor or freelancer and he has some documentation, he can absolutely take them to small claims court over it. I have an acquaintance who did this. He was getting stiffed by 2 clients, a small business and another mid-sized local business, and he sent them notice they were late and that he'd be taking them to court in 7 days. One paid up immediately on the threat, the other didn't. He represented himself in small claims court. The judge found in his favor. End of story. Obviously, this might feel like an extra thing to take on, and he'd need to do some research, but it could help relieve some financial stress. Small claims court is underrated. You can even sue large companies there in some cases. Didn't know that. Commenter 2, I was therapy adverse. I realized that I don't go for me, I go for my kid. I want to be better and have a better grasp on issues so I can model it for my kids. I want a healthy relationship with boundaries, self-image, money, etc. Because my folks didn't, and I see all that in me. I want to stamp it out at me. It ends with my generation. Tell your brother if his toddler's face is the only thing that pulls him out of the dark, make it so that the dark disappears as much as it can and the burden isn't on his kid. It's not his kid's job to get him through, it's his job. Talking is helpful. Have him talk to his wife more about what happened and how he feels about how she treated him. But also important note, make sure that the wife communicates how that affected her, because high-key, I think he's more in the wrong there. Me personally, I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm going to strip clubs and my girlfriend's okay with it and vice versa. Like, I just don't think that's anything that a relationship needs. But I know there are some relationships like that. If you're gonna go to a strip club, you need to call your wife before you do it, even if you're taking clients. You know what I'm saying? Also, what kind of clients are you taking where, like, to close business you have to take them to a strip club? That sounds like not a fun business to be in at all. Commenter 3, I'm a dad, physician, and therapist activist. I know it may feel like talking to a stranger because that's what it is in the beginning. A few things to understand. You have to find the right person for you. I realized that I would prefer a male after seeing 2 women because they'd relate better to me. Then I'd realize I'd prefer a younger male over an older male. Then a colored male over a white male. Eventually, it just clicked, and it becomes a feeling of, wow, this person gets me. Then this person gets to know you and can allow you to view these issues in a different light, ask you questions that maybe you haven't thought about, and, most importantly, give the tools to help process and heal the thoughts you may have. You are making really good progress. I commend your commitment and love for your brother. I wish more of my patients had that support system. Continue what you're doing, continue showing up, and continue recommending he find the right therapist for him. Healing your mental health takes work. It's not an easy fix, and it takes time. I think I like the most what they said about, like, hey bro, if he is already saying that the thing that keeps him going is his son, that is a good lever to pull when it comes to convincing him to get help for himself. Not only hey, your son needs you and, like, depends on you, so you need to be the best version of yourself, but also I really like, if your son has depression, you want to be able to tell your child that you were able to put in the work into yourself to overcome that, and you have the tools and capabilities to show them and give them the support that they might need in that scenario as well. That just sounds like a superpower right there. Update number 2, May 26th, 2025. 4 days later. Last night we read all 700 plus replies together. Each line felt like someone further up the trail flashing a light back toward us. He set the phone down, shook his head, and asked me to pass along what landed, his lines and my narration around them. I'm guessing that's like a more flowy way to read this part. 1. How did we all miss the sirens? Thread after thread told the same gut punch story. Brothers cracking jokes at dinner, FaceTiming goodnights, and then gone. Some waved flags, goodbye texts, sudden giveaways. Others wore flawless masks. Meds skipped, plans canceled, eyes smiling but empty. My brother's takeaway. Stop betting on maybe tomorrow, ask the blunt question, knock anyway, fire off the midnight check-in. OP's takeaway. Show up first, hope later. Drag them to the doctor today, not when the calendar clears. One knock at the right moment can keep a life from swinging shut. Second takeaway. Therapy. Jack, not tow truck. He dodged therapy for years. Real men fix flats alone. Then one analogy finally landed. The brother's takeaway. If you won't grab a tool for yourself, grab it so your kids don't grow up thinking silence is strength. OP's takeaway. Therapy isn't a rescue crew. It lifts the frame you can work. If the first jack slips, swap it and keep going. Takeaway number 3. Depression never really moves out. We finally admitted it. Depression doesn't pack its bags. Most of us just learn to walk with a limp while acting like everything's fine. Relief looks different for everyone. Weights, riffs, sketchbooks, meds, CBT drills, but even the best routine collapses when you're alone and the limp turns to sludge. Action beats rumination, ping a friend, walk a block, book the labs, anything. My brother's takeaway. Depression wins if I freeze alone. Any emotion with people, lifting, riffing, walking, talking, pumps oxygen back into the day. OP's takeaway, normalize the limp. Keep nudging toward motion and never let anyone walk that limp alone. Takeaway 4, the 2 a.m. kill zone. That's when the brain rips off its daytime mask and insists the only exit is to stop breathing. 2 refrains echo, I wish he'd called, and I had no one to dial. We're never truly islands. Even a loner rock has fish swirling underneath, so reach out when you can't pull yourself back. Brother's takeaway, when tunnel vision hits, a live voice is the crowbar that pries the door back open. OP's takeaway, build failsafes before the kill zone. Keep numbers pinned, plans primed, and remember, if you can't calm your own storm, send a signal. Someone's awake and willing to steer you till morning. Why OP's writing and staying? I'm typing parts of this in tears because the reality of almost losing my brother finally sank in. Humanity is rare on the internet, but this thread flooded us with it. If these words keep even one more family from that edge, sharing them is a must. No one should die of lonely suffering. Even a lone island isn't truly alone. Life teems beneath the surface. Let's prove that to anyone who feels stranded. What we still need, add your piece. I'm still wiping tears because if I hadn't acted on what the dads and moms here shared, I might be planning my brother's funeral right now. Your advice saved him, so I'm leaning on it again. If you're still in the thick of it, what's weighing on you right now? Money, panic, med roulette, zero support circle, name it so we all can see it. If you've made it to steady your ground, what do you wish you'd done sooner or wish existed when things were darkest? What's actually helped you fight back? A habit, a line, a resource? Share the thing that really moved the needle. Everything you offer will go into a living guide we can all lean on. One late night thread kept my brother here. Together we can keep the next family whole. This commenter said he has to fix his business. For small business owners, mental health and the business performance are impossible to separate. He can't do it alone. Just like therapy, he needs to bring in someone that can shine a light where it needs to be. That's not weakness. That's just being smart and using someone else's skill set. As a small business owner, yes, 100%. My mental health is always the worst when my business isn't doing well or when there's like a major problem with my business. Being financially stable is like kind of a number one thing for me, and prioritizing that and taking the measures that I need to do that just in case something does happen. That is something that I like keep in mind at all times when I make decisions, and that has helped my mental health immensely. So like, yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people that own their own businesses tie the worth that they feel in themselves to that business. Like, I know when my business isn't doing so hot, I feel bad about myself because it directly correlates to me, and that's something that I work on. I'm sure this guy is feeling the exact same thing. I really wish these comments had included like some people's answers to these, because I'm actually genuinely curious. I do want to see if anybody left any like recommendations. Okay, so this person dropped a video. Oh, it's in the post, it said this WHO video helped. I thought they meant the band, but it's a World Health Organization video. This person linked a WHO video that helped them. So did a following bit in Hugh Laurie's 2016 NPR video, which I'm not going to deep dive in, but they did include some dialogue from it. Simon, in interviews, I'd heard you spoken openly about depression. Laurie responded, yes, I have. He said cheerily, laughter. Simon, laughter. Is that an ongoing factor? Challenge even in your life? Laurie replied, well, yes, as it is in so many people's lives. I recognize the onset earlier than I might otherwise have done 20 years ago and take steps accordingly to try and have, or at least, if not take steps to avoid it, at least not be panicked by it. Not at least to be cast down by it, but simply to ride it out and just simply think this is what it is. This is happening to me now, and tomorrow might look different or it might not. But one day soon I will wake up and feel better, as I might feel better from, you know, a bout of the flu. Okay, that's an interesting perspective I've never heard before. Comparing it to like a bodily sickness like the flu. This commenter said, I've done a lot of therapy over the years, and a few things that have helped me, I could probably reduce to some mantras / sayings. So maybe they will help. First saying, you call a bag of shit, not a bag of crap. Teacher taught me this, basically saying you need to be real and honest about where and how things suck to be able to address it for real. Don't downplay it. Call it what it is so you know what it is that you want to fix or change. Okay, don't sugarcoat it. I like that. Second saying, it took a while to get here, so it will also take a while to get out. Everything happens slowly to get where you are, so don't expect everything to change overnight through one talk or one good moment. You build a wall one brick at a time, but each brick matters. Each little thing you do builds towards something bigger. Okay, I like that too. That's my philosophy on every life thing, is like TikTok and all these platforms teach us like short-term gratification, but like the real important gratification in life does not come short-term. It's always long-term, and it always takes a lot of effort. And like the other part of this metaphor is that sometimes you'll put a brick down, but it'll be the wrong brick, or like the brick will be broken and you have to take it out and put in effort to fix the brick again. Like, it's never smoothly building that brick wall, but it's just always trying to build it. Last saying, go where you've celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Meaning, if your community is bringing you down or is negative, leave. Get around people who see how hard this is for you, but also celebrate wins with you or help support you to get solutions or find more help. If it's church, a sports league, therapy group, etc. Get connected. Okay, I really like that one. I think one of the worst things you can do in scenarios like this is isolate yourself. So this is very underrated and awesome advice.